Hello student, welcome back for today's class. Today we will be continuing with the same paper, model question paper 1 based on reduced syllabus. In the previous class already I have discussed about one word question answer and I believe I have completed till 16th question number 16. But to be on the safer side, I better start from question number 16 itself. So let us begin with question number 16. Question number 16 that you will have to answer, in 80 to 100 words. So you can see the question is, what makes Donna Laura remark Gonzalo to be an ill-natured old man? In sunny morning, give reasons. So here we can see that as I have written your answer, you can see that sunny morning, the name of the drama, and it is written by Quintero Brothers, and that is a romantic comedy. So here we will underline sunny morning, Quintero Brothers, and it is refreshingly, it's a romantic comedy. So romanticism, that means it is not written in a very conventional method of writing a romantic story. Okay, so it is a romantic comedy. It tells the story of Gonzalo and Donna Laura, who were ardent lovers at their young age, right? But their affair was not so successful one, and they had to part, from each other's life. So this means that we have given the introduction of our story, and they met in a park in Madrid during their old age. So this information is very, crucial, very important for this answer, because you need to introduce Donna Laura, you need to introduce Gonzalo, and what started this ill-natured conversation. Okay, so they were the ardent lover and they had to part. Then again in their old age, they met in a park in Madrid, right? So here we can see that this play begins a sunny morning in a park in Madrid. Now, you may write, you may not write that this part. Old woman Donna Laura enters the scene described by the author, that is handsome, white hair, old lady, about 70. Okay, and she takes the help of Petra, who is her maid. Now, what happened here? Another character is been introduced. He is Gonzalo, right? And Gonzalo takes the help of his assistant, and then as he enters, we can see that Gonzalo didn't find a bench for himself, because not a single bench was free, vacant for him. And whatever usually he occupies during his visit, it was occupied by 3 priests. Okay, so he tells Zuneto to root them out, which was not possible, and then he gets irritated. His indignant behavior is very prominent in this scene, and then he enters into the flock, that a flock of birds. They they were feeding on the breadcrumbs distributed by Donna Laura. So Laura becomes agitated. Laura was unhappy, and she expects a simple apology from Gonzalo, which Gonzalo never offers, right? So this lady, that means uh, Laura, she becomes very unhappy. She was very upset. So here it begins this ill-natured conversation between Donna Laura and Gonzalo, right? Uh, Ultimately, Gonzalo was forced to be seated on the same bench where Laura was sitting. And he didn't ask for apology. He didn't ask any permission from Laura, right? And this makes Laura very, very unhappy. Though a pinch of snuff reconciles between these two characters. So why this comment? That means in sunny morning, Donna Laura considers Gonzalo to be an ill-natured old man because he enters into the flock and disturb the birds, as Laura was very particular to feed the birds. She expects a simple apology from this old man Gonzalo, but Gonzalo was against any apology, and moreover, without Laura's permission, Gonzalo occupies the seat where Laura was sitting. So finally, Laura considered him as an ill-natured man, right? So this will be the answer of your question number 16. If we move for 17, question number 17 is from the same lesson, that give an account of Don Gonzalo's cousin's glorious death as narrated by Gonzalo. So in sunny morning, you will have to begin that the Quintero brothers, the same way, a refreshing new comedy. It tells the story of Gonzalo and Donna, who were the ardent lovers at their young age, right? Uh, it was not a successful love story because they were forced to part. Okay, so here we can see some points which are very important. Laura and Gonzalo, both of them, they stated the story, they framed the story of their own death. Why they did so? Why? Because, see, after, they were forced to part from each other, we can see the real story speaks that Gonzalo, he started a new commitment to a ballet dancer, whereas Laura waited for 2 more years and finally she decided to get married to someone else. Now, at this age, when they are matured and when they look into their past, perhaps both of them, they feel that they are not, they had not been very loyal to their loved ones, right? So this is the first point why they started fabricating new stories. They started faking their own death, right? And another point is Laura, as you can see in the beginning, the playwright has given her description. She is still beautiful even in her 70s. So students, we can imagine how beautiful she could be in her youth. So she was very beautiful and she was known as the Silver Maiden. Silver Maiden at this old age has lost her beauty. She couldn't tolerate this thing that this, truth will be revealed to her, her lover. So she wanted to project, she wanted to restore the story as it used to be. That means that Silver Maiden will retain with all her accomplishment in the memory of her lover. And the same way, Gonzalo used to be a gallant lover, right? He used to ride on the horse, he used to, sing. He was, very young and dynamic man in his youth. But he has lost his charm. He has become gouty. He has become indignant in his old age, which he restricted to project before Laura. Both of them, they could recognize each other, but they were fabricating, story. They were faking their, their death stories to each other, right? So what was the story? You can see here. Laura pretended that she knew a lady whose name is Laura. That means she is her friend, it seems, and that Silva maiden, Laura Laurent, lived in Maricela in Valencia, and she was known for his beauty, Silva maiden in her locality. And Gonzalo would pass by on the horseback every morning and under Laura's window and would toss a bouquet of flower up to her balcony, right? And then we will have to see that is the glorious death, how they have seen, they have narrated. So this was the true story. And then their love was prevented by the parents, as because Laura's parents wanted to marry Laura to an established merchant. One day, both this merchant and Gonzalo had a duel where this merchant received fatal wound. So that means Gonzalo, had to go for hiding. This is the beginning. Now, after that, he wrote many letters to Laura, which was intercepted by her parents. And so they couldn't meet with each other ever. Now, in a park of Madrid in their 70s, they have met again, right? Don Gonzalo tried to spin his version of story, that means about a supposed cousin. He projected himself as his cousin, right? And he wanted to make sure that cousin, that means who is projected as Gonzalo, was in love with Laura intensely, right? And the story details about the injury and everything. Then he says that he was forced to take refuge to Seville and Madrid, and he wrote many letters which were seized by the parents. And then in despair, he joined the army, went to Africa and died in one of the trenches, right? See how loyal he wanted to project himself, that he was so loyal that while he was lying in the trench and he was about to die, he was holding the flag of Spain. That means it shows the love for his country. Not only that, but also he was muttering the name of his love, Laura. That means he is so loyal that he is loyal to his country and he is loyal to his beloved Laura, right? This is the story narrated, rather fabricated story narrated by Don Gonzalo. Whereas in reality, it didn't happen. And he, again, he fell into another commitment with a ballet dancer within 3 months, okay? And similarly, Laura started earning story that she says, she was even loyal. And as she continued waiting for for her love, and her love didn't turn up. So in despair, one day he went to the beach, and there she wrote Gonzalo's name, and then he listened to the eternal trinity of water, of waves, and then she committed suicide, right? But whereas she is very much alive and she got married after 2 years, okay? So this will be two specific stories, which is important, student, that if you find that you cannot manage within 7 to 8 minutes, so you can skip this beginning. That means not exactly skipping, but in a nutshell, you can give the introduction of, right? Otherwise, the evaluator may not be having a clue about whose story and why these two old person, they are forced to fake their death. Okay, so it is better that you give introduction, but in a nutshell. Okay, should we go for 18? See, student, 18 is narrate how the speaker portrays his beloved in future, beloved's future in when you are old. So here, that is, this is, exquisite love lyric written by, W.B. Yeats. And it is addressed to the poet's beloved Maud Gonne, everything that we have discussed in the class. Maud Gonne, she was a leading actress during her time and she's very beautiful. She had many suitors in her life, right? So perhaps, maybe that is one of the reasons that she didn't respond to poet's love ever. That means it is an reciprocated love story. Okay, so here we can see a, a nice time zone has been sketched by the poet. You can see that the poem begins when this poem was written. Yeats was only 23 years old. He's quite young, right? And he wrote this poem, and the expectation here we can see that his beloved will be an old woman, and from there she has to have the perspective of her youth. That means, one, the young fellow is writing about both of their love story, which will be at their very mellowing stage, and from there they will have to look into their past, right? So this is 3 time zone we can see here. Fine. So the question here is, narrate how the speaker portrays his beloved's future. What will be the beloved's future, right? So in this poem, the poet told his beloved that there would come a day when his beloved would grow old, right? And here the story begins. Her hair would turn gray. Her life would be at the proximity to death, when she will be sitting by the fire and she would nod drowsily. Okay. Right then, the poet expects her to pick up this book of remembrance, right? That means it's down the memory lane. She has to remember all her past. And the poet expects that at this stage she could remember everything very slowly, because she has lost her relation, she has lost her beauty, and she has lost many suitors who were in love with the grace of her. Okay, he tells her that she goes through the book, she realizes the real worth of his love. In her old age, the poet desires her that she would recall the days of her youth when she had sweet and gentle look. She had dark eyes, which made the hearts of her lover beat with joy. And she had many suitors who loved her youth and beauty. Now she has lost everything, and she will realize that among all those admirers, the only one man was there whose love was not being reciprocated, but he was the true lover, because he never loved her beauty, her grace, her physical beauty. Only he had loved ever the pilgrim soul, right? Pilgrim soul means it is the searching soul, and searching soul means, that everywhere. After death, the soul, travels. The journey of soul, it continues. So if someone, love the pilgrim soul, the love continues forever. So at this age, probably she will realize the true lover of her. But already that love has flayed. Here, love flayed, you can see that is a kind of sense of personification is being implicated by the poet, that love flayed. Maybe the love, this condition, this emotion stands for it himself, or the condition of love, the emotion has flayed and it has hidden, somewhere the multitude, at the it has changes its feature to a constellation, or it has hidden its face, right? So you can see here, that is one point. The mountains disappeared into overhead mountains and amid a crowd of stars. Okay, that love has hidden overhead mountains and amid a crowd of stars. So here she realizes that her lovers who were in the love with her physical grace, they have lost, their interest. But that lover who has always paid interest in the pilgrim soul of her, even that love is lost. She can not cherish the love anymore, because this man, maybe it is the author the poet wants to mention the date, moreover the date that she yet expect that he will be one recognized personality, and in fact he did so. That means Yeats was a Nobel laureate and he was focused for his poem. And when Morgan was thrown out of the industry of the silver screen, he was the most popular. Yeats was very popular by that time, right? So here a kind of, we can say that a young heart is suffering from vengeance, right? So kind of, I'm not asking you to write that one, but yes, it is kind of sense of revenge we can see here, okay? So this is the thing that he expects. So in short, he expects this lady will grow old and she will be having gray hair, and then she will lose her beauty, she will lose her admirers, and then she will realize that someone was there who always admires not only her physical beauty, but her pilgrim soul. Okay, so this is the answer of question number 18. Question number 19, as you can see, question number 19 is trace the challenges in life of the plantation owner after arrival of the old man. Yes. So here P. Lankesh, who is an Indian writer, mainly he has focused in Kannada language. The Gardener is the excellent example. That is the multiple narration. With multiple narration, I believe that not many of the Indian author, they had gone for experiment, but this is nice example of multiple narration. Now multiple narration, as I told you, it always bends the rule of conventional method of speaking or narrating a story. It has it is narrated. That means the narrator is not only one but many narrators, so it gets, the single story gets many perspective from many angles and many narrators. Okay, so this is called multiple narration. And it is a narrative of human competition, gradually which turns into dirty rivalry and finally summoning death. Okay, see here, Tamanna, we can see here is the narrator, right? Tamanna, as the story begins, we can see, there is an old man old man, makes a long journey, and as he reaches to a coconut farm at Chennai Patna, after walking several hundreds of miles, um, he found that the plantation owner, he was in a suffering. That means he couldn't manage the petty thefts in his plantation. And this man was being requested by the plantation owner to handle the situation, because this plantation owner was amazed after looking at this old man. This old man was a laborer, a overseer, and philosopher, all rolled into one, right? So this man was quite impressed. The plantation owner was quite impressed by this old man, and the old man agreed to stay on. This well-versed farmhand, that means this old man, was very, very, useful to handle, to tackle the petty thefts, as immediately the petty thefts came to an end. And so the income was doubled dramatically, right? He worked hard, and but as the old man started working hard, the same time the owner's life, the young owner's life, changed drastically, because he became crowded with colorful events in the company of new friends. Okay, so the landlady, that means the plantation owner's wife, was in a fix whether the arrival of the stranger in their life was a curse or a blessing, right? And so the gardener by that time started narrating a story, just to convince, just to make her understand about the reality, right? So this is the question number 19. 20 is describe the war between the driver and pedestrian as explained by the narrator in Japan in Brazil through a traveler's eye. Often we get, most of the time we have attempted, that is based on Japan story, that is Boeing, okay, a courtesy, and this is a new concept, new question, right? You are going to face. So this particular excerpt, which projects, Brazil, this excerpt is taken from How to Tango, whereas the Japan part, that is taken from, that excerpt is taken from the land of rising, the land of the rising yen. Okay, so we will have to take this part, that is How to Tango. He writes about traveling experiences from two different places, Japan and Brazil, and this is taken from How to Tango. Fine. And while you are writing How to Tango, you will have to underline that. Okay. See, travel writing, if you want, you can write about this. This travel writing is one's experience of traveling and visiting new places. Travel writing has become very popular as more number of people have begun to explore places, new places on the globe. Okay. Now, see, which is important, that is what is important here in the excerpt, Traffic in Brazil, talking about the footpaths in Brazil. The writer says that they are beautiful, well decorated, as the footpath is well decorated and it is well maintained. What does it reflect? It reflects the sense of beauty in the citizen. That means they really pay heed to the beauty. They're concerned of the beauty of the city, right? And this Brazilian, they do not hurry while they're walking, they're attending any meeting, they're going for even interview. Okay. And they amble around leisurely. But the same citizen, we can change the situation of the citizen, as when we found them behind a steering wheel. They become entirely different people. They drive murderously fast, and their target is always the pedestrian, who run for their dear life, who dare to step to the pavement even. Okay, they compete bitterly with their fellow drivers, cutting from both the sides, forcing them to commit many crimes. So, but you know, there is no hostility. That means no ill feeling between the driver and the pedestrian. They smile at one another, and just they smile at the pedestrian, they forced to run for his life. That means it is someone's turn to be a pedestrian and another's turn to the driver. Maybe the reverse situation can happen the next day, the next moment. Okay, so this is the Brazil, and this is traveler's eye. Okay, that means the question from Japan and Brazil through a traveler's eye.